one of the hardest things to explain about experiencing other lives, even all life, even timelessness. I mean, it's one of the hardest things, of course, to explain. But to put it into words is to say, fortune tellers and mystics and even things like that, the ones who have looked into other people's futures or pasts for too long and tried to do it for a long of a period of time, end up harming their own physical body's mentality because they bring that into their memory. If you view through it quick like a movie and try to remember it, it's one thing. But if you do it too often, you start forgetting who you are. There's certain things that your mind isn't supposed to do all the time. You can't do anything unless the person tries to sit with you while you do it and you pass the energy on to them, and then they have their own vision. But it wouldn't be anything to do with you. It'd be them having their own vision in your presence, radiating off of your light, and they'd see their own story. But see, people don't know that. We used to do that, but now we have these silly people who think they can tell people's futures and tell people's pasts, and they can if the people listen. And the problem is if you get too far into it and you do see the truth, because I know there are people who do see the truth, but if you do it too often, it starts distorting the person. It just does. They believe they're who they are, they follow some kind of old craft, and they believe that one way is the way, and none of them are the right one way. None of them. If they involve words, language, light, any kind of sensory thing, they're not the one way. I know that one way, but I have to lead people into the light. Not in this world. In this world, we enjoy it and we make it better. When we go on to the next world, which every day, every moment, we're in the next world. So what you'll see what I mean when it happens. But we have to get people on the same page. Even the government. All people. No one's worse. They're just doing what they think is right in their own maybe twisted way. But so many other people do things in their own twisted way too. People eat animals and own dogs. People eat dogs and own cows. You know, oh, that was really cool. I just passed a cow a few minutes ago and it made complete eye contact with me. It was awesome. So awesome. Right in the eye. And I felt so bad for it, but at the same time, it's like they know what they're here for. They're doing whatever they would do with their life. Why wouldn't they? If they were out in the open, sometimes they'd be ran down by other stuff. But we're in a world where we see things the way we see them, and it can't be another way until we change it. We would have to see what would happen if things went on the loose. If we started saying, oh, they're all over the place and we can't control them, then that would happen. But if we started not spreading them around as much and marketing them and farming them, watch what would happen. We would become harmonious. We would grow fruit and vegetables and foods, and everyone would eat and be happy, and we'd grow, we'd learn how to fly, we'd do things awesomely. People would enter into places where if you wanted to go through some kind of sequence where it seems real that you're harming each other, fine. But that's not what we're doing in an organic body right now. Well, as one being we are. But those light beings have separated us into this human version. So now, what I'm trying to do is gather people up to say, okay, to say what I just said isn't, really is, but not in this dimension, not in the human world. So it's so hard to try to explain things when the now is the now. So to try to say it in human ways, the now wouldn't make any sense if the next moment is now. And we are beings who are doing this kind of simulation thing. Some people say that and they get stuck in it. We're more than that. We're even above that. I know what's above that. I'm trying to take us beyond just concepts of a human mind. And now we can't because the human mind is stuck on everyone else's concepts and that they've been told. So the hardest thing to do is to tell people that, you sort of, when people say, what did you do when you were this person and this happened? Well, I know the answer. I know the outcomes. But the funny thing is, when you're that person going through their everyday life, think about yourself right now. If you get put in a pinch and you have to figure something out, you sort of swiggly do your way through it. You make your way through it somehow. That's what everybody and everything does. You find the best way through and you make it. That's what happens. Always. It doesn't matter what your name was. You go through life and you move in the moment. So to try to focus on the pinpoint details of anybody's past, even though I've experienced it through the eyes, it's like through the eye, through the eyes. Like the eyes are the window to the soul, but they're just the window. Once you get inside the house, you don't need to see what other people's eyes saw. You just know it. And that's the part where you cannot tell people about that, because they cannot register that until they see beyond what they're looking at. And I see everything, but it doesn't make sense to people who are only seeing what they're looking at. Sometimes they see what they're listening to while they're looking at it. Sometimes they can almost comprehend what they're listening to when they're listening to it. But when they close their eyes and look at it while they're listening to it, then maybe they'll understand. But it's a long road, but we can do this, and we shall. Until next time, peace.